Hey y'all, Biohack here. In this video, I thought I would go ahead and give you a little bit of an update on how things are going farming the Dungeon Divers event for the Lunar Deck of Fate to get Fatalis Blade Master. So if we take a look at this, we have 1 day and 8 hours left, which is about, 32 hours total. And I have managed to pick up 22,610 points. So we're on track. If I do that math real quick, let me pull up my calculator here. We need 40,000 points total. Worst case scenario, we might get lucky and not have to pull 1 or 2 shards at the end, but that means I need about 17,390 points left in 32 hours. That is about 543 points an hour that I need to pick up, which is not too bad. I think my team that is duoing Spider gets about 700 when it's farming. And then overnight, I've been using RSL Helper to farm Dragon in a duo team. Then that one doesn't need presets, so I can essentially farm permanently with that. And that's been really, really successful for a few reasons. One, I've managed to pick up a ton of silver. So we're up to, I think, 145 million. I can't remember exactly what I started with. I want to say it was like maybe 80 million or so. But yeah, mostly just farming a ton of Spider with a little bit of Dragon. I have also completely finished the champion training event. I basically use no brews to do this. Usually I basically complete these events entirely with brews. I do pretty much every single champion training event, by the way. I almost never farm campaign. I only farm the bare minimum 500 campaign battles. But I'm able to do every one of these events by doing all of my champion leveling or all my dungeon farming rather, with food using 2-man teams. So I was able to do that here. And actually I'm going to way overshoot this. Since then, I've just kind of decided to go ahead and take up pretty much like all the epics on my account up to level 40. I've just been leveling a ton of them so that when City of Centranos comes out, the next rotation, I can sort of have a pre-jump on all these different champions. And the other nice thing about that is I'm like way past the point where I need to worry about food for leveling champions. Obviously, right? I have way more food than I'm ever going to need. But by getting all these level 40 epics and putting them in my storage, it means that I have them available if I ever want to win a champ chase tournament, a champ training tournament. I can just take those level 40s, take them up to 5-star, feed them, I think the optimal is about 8 brews, and get a bunch of points, and you can basically just whip out a ton of points really fast last minute. I kind of want to have my account capable of pulling out like 20,000 champ training points within less than an hour, ideally, without using books. And then, of course, books can help on top of that. So that's kind of what I'm setting up my account for, and this is why I've been leveling up. You can see just a number of these bunch of epics, getting them to 40, and I've got a bunch more, in reserve vault. Well, a couple in reserve vault, more over here. I'm just kind of doing that right now. So with that being said, let's talk about some of the teams I have been using to farm. The main one is actually one I did a video on a little while ago, and that is my Mithrala Akamtum duo Spider team. If you haven't watched the video on this, you can definitely go check it out on my channel. I'll go ahead and show you sort of what the builds are and how it works, though, just so we can talk about it real quick. So first things first, I guess Akamtum. So let's go over his kit really quick. It's a pretty simple kit. Basically, on his A1, he has a chance to place poisons. It's basically, it hits 3 times. Each hit has a 40% chance placing a poison. If the target is under Hex, he can also spread the debuff, or a 40% chance of spreading a debuff to other targets. His A2 attacks 3 times. Each hit has a books up to, 75% chance of placing Hex. So because it hits 3 times, each one of those hits has a 75% chance. This means it's very, very reliable. It almost always lands. If enemies are not under Hex, has... Oh, wait, sorry. That one's increases the duration. Yeah. No, so this one increases the duration. This one places it. But okay, where it really kicks into play is his passive right here. It has an 80% chance of inflicting damage from 1 poison debuff on enemies under Hex whenever whenever their allies receive damage from poison. So this is insane for Spider, because what it does is if you spread the Hex to all the Spiderlings and then the Spider ticks a poison, it will insta one-shot all the Spiderlings. And in the hard version of Spider, when the Spiderlings die, it will give you, or it will deal damage to the boss. And because this doesn't count as an actual poison, it counts as him dealing the damage. What we can do is we can put him in a lifesteal set. And what that means is essentially every time the spider takes a turn and procs that poison on all the spiderlings, it will insta max heal him all the way up to full health, because it's technically being calculated as if he is doing the damage, and therefore it procs the lifesteal bonus, and he heals himself off of it. So if we look at his build real quick, let me first off show you the stats, but we'll also jump over to Spider's Den right here. So he's got a pretty nice build. He's got 80,000 health, which for an epic champion is pretty high, about 3,400 defense, 303 speed, and then he has enough accuracy to land the hex. So I think you need like 350 on the spider. He's got 364. A lot of that is from area bonuses. So if we look at the stats without the area bonuses, you can see that they're quite a bit less. But I do have a decent amount of area bonus here. We get, 2,000 health, 100 defense, 6 speed, 8 resistance, 64 accuracy. And once I finish maxing my Hydra, I probably will start putting a little bit more stats into him. This build, this run can fail, although it's usually not because he dies. But if he doesn't have a lot of health, he can die. Okay, so the next champion that we're going to use is Mithrala. Mithrala's build is Regeneration. And she is very tanky. I originally speed tuned her so that she could work in my what's it called? Phantom Shogun. She's the cleanser in the Phantom Shogun team. That's why she has this 284 speed. But she's tanky, 4,000 health, 8,700 HP. She does not heal as much as, actually it's more than that, right? Because we have the HP bone or the Great Hall bonuses. She doesn't heal as much as the regen as Akimtung. Akimtung will basically insta heal himself all the way to full, but she obviously it won't, so she needs to be tankier to survive. That being said, she's a lot easier to build tankier than he is because he's a squishy attack-based nuker. Okay, so then 290 speed once we consider the Spider's Den bonuses, enough accuracy to land her job, and of course, if she has enough accuracy, she'll also have enough resistance thanks to the Mithrala aura. We check out the masteries here. I do have Spirit Haste, so that on both these champions, it's an important one. They are getting the extra speed by having that. None of these other masteries are particularly important. You just, kind of want to make them tanky. Akimtum, same thing. He doesn't need damage or anything because he's not actually nuking. It's just the poison's dealing all the damage. I do take Oppressor on him to increase the turn meter fill rate, so that'll make him faster. Want to get him lapping around as quick as we can so that he can get up those hex buffs over and over and over again. So let me show you that run real quick. Hold on, we just had this reset. Do we get any souls? No cool souls, bummer. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and spend the energy on that. And then we'll just click. You'll see how this goes. Oh, I forgot to set up show you the presets. The way we have the presets, we have Mithrala opening with her A1, and then we have her prioritizing her A2. Akimtum is prioritizing his A2. That actually needs to be set because if not, he'll open with his A1 until there's enough poisons on the boss. But anyway, there you go. You can see that she puts out her poison. One of the fail states this can happen is if she 3%s that poison on the boss, then it will be problematic because it won't proc the damage on all the spiderlings. But so far, this run is going pretty well. My failure rate is very low. I think it's like 3%, maybe less. So there you go. You saw the debuff spread where Akimtum put the hex on everyone. I think he's actually going to, he's going to place it on everyone anyway with his A2. And we've got the spider coming down. And then this is where things can get a little fuzzy. One of the other things that can go wrong is this debuff right here has a 30% chance of decreasing the turn meter, and if the turn meter is placed, it will sleep your champion. You can resist this turn meter defect or decreasing effect. So if Mithrala doesn't resist that, she can fall asleep, which can mess things up a little bit. But either way, like I said, the success rate is very high. So we'll just let this tick down. I'm not sure if this turn is going to kill the boss. It might. Nope, not quite. So we'll probably kill it on the next turn. So it typically runs between about a minute and 20 seconds or so. The way it's set up right here. And unfortunately, like I said, you do have to set up the presets. So that's one of the major downsides of this team. Is I do have to, I set everything up here, and which means I have to come in and swap out the food over and over and over again, which means I can't use RSL Helper to farm this overnight. Now, I've been testing a few other things, and one of the ones that's been reasonably successful is this one, which is... Actually, do I want to do this? Well, there's one with Akimtum, and there's one with Artak. Maybe we do Artak, since a lot of you will have him. A lot of you are not going to have this champion, though. But Sulfurion and Artak can actually do this fight as well. It's not as reliable, though, so I haven't been doing it as much. But this one doesn't require presets. I think presets would improve it because, as we're going to see, we get the HP burn here. Artak's going to activate. Unfortunately, the spider then just heals all the way back up. But if we let this run, I think it usually takes about 2 minutes to finish. Unfortunately, it's just not as reliable as it could be. I'll show you the builds in just a second. I think the Sulfurion build is pretty good. I think you could probably make a better build for Artak to do this, honestly, if you wanted to, and that might actually help make it a little more consistent. And I might actually do this in the future. We'll have to see, because I would really like something that I could farm without needing a without needing any sort of presets, because it's really a bummer to have that. The other nice thing about this, though, is that Sulfurion is a reviver, and he's very tanky and keeps himself alive really, really well. So we can just revive if Artak dies, which is very, very handy. So let's see how this goes. We're about a minute in, and there we go. So you see about a minute, and we're able to do it without any presets. Unfortunately, this isn't perfectly reliable, like I said, but I think with some little bit of beer, I could get that to work. So let me show you their builds real quick. If we go to Sulfurion here, he is in regeneration set, like this. And he also has, I guess, perception is the other thing. Look at his build in Spider. We see he's got 370 resistance, 353 accuracy. He's 275 speed, 77,000 health, and 3,600 defense. So tanky, fast, regeneration set, basically. And that's his deal. Artak, I honestly had this Artak build for City of Centranos, which is why he's actually in a stun set. So I think you could make a much better build here. He's 240 speed, 78,000 health, 2,800 defense. I didn't set it up to spiders. There you go. Actually 8,000, or almost 81,000 health, 3,000 defense, 246 speed. And then he's got kind of low resistance and kind of low accuracy. So one of the things I think I might do, I don't know, maybe I'll even test this out at some point and make a video on it if I can make it more consistent, is get him enough resistance and enough accuracy so that we don't need to worry about him getting put to sleep or anything as much and that kind of thing. And maybe we could make this reliable enough that it could actually replace the Mithrala and the Akamtum team. However, that one's probably more accessible to most of you, since Sulfurion is a void legendary and not a lot of people have him. But there we go. Okay, so one more team that I'm going to show you that I use to farm, and that is actually my dragon team that uses Stultus and Bad El Khazar. So Bad El Khazar, again, is built in a regeneration set. If we go over to Dragon, you can see he's about 257 speed, 430 accuracy, 300 resistance, 320 accuracy, give or take, and then I guess 4,500 defense. So that's the Bad El Khazar build. He is built for low damage. Again, I have him in Oppressor to try and get those turns around as fast as possible. You don't need any offense sets. You just want to make him tanky and get him to take a lot of turns as quickly as possible. Of course, anytime you're going to be using a team that's using food that dies, you probably want to pick up Spirit Haste. Got that there. The other champion that is part of this team is actually my Stultus. If I can find him. There he goes. And this is my full PvP build Stultus. This is the same Stultus I use in live arena all the time. And he's just there to be a nuker and a tanky beefcake. So he's got 79,000 health. He's got 6,600 defense and 2,800 or 280 crit damage, rather, 231 speed. He's got fairly low accuracy. He doesn't really need accuracy at all. The waves have super, super low resistance. I think they have like 100 resistance. So pretty much any champion, if you have like a max Great Hall, is going to be able to land their abilities on the boss. Stultus has this passive here that makes him so good for fighting the dragon. Is he reflects poisons, basically. Whenever an enemy attempts to place a weaken, decrease defense, or poison debuff on this champion, it reflects it back to them. Those poisons are based on the dragon's accuracy. So even if Stultus has no accuracy, it will reflect the poisons back on itself using its own accuracy as a check against its own resistance, and it can basically land them on itself. So you don't need any accuracy on Stultus to do that. I do have him 6-starred in Soul Reap. Again, this is mostly for PvP. This isn't necessary, but it does make it a little bit faster. So let me go and show you that run real quick. Nice thing about this one, again, is that you do not need any presets. So we'll take Bad L here. Let's put in my food that I'm working on leveling. So we'll take these 3, and then we'll just let this run. So the Bad L and Stultus are just going to kind of do their thing. Nice thing about Stultus is right there, you can see that he stunned almost the entire enemy team. And so this will just cruise along. Now, if you don't have Bad L, you can... I've used this with a couple different things. Sulfurion can do the same job as well. In fact, I think with a bit of a better blessing on Sulfurion, if I got him up to 3-star, maybe 5-star, I think he could actually solo this. He just struggles to kill the boss. He has no problems getting through the waves easy. But with the low chance of landing the Brimstone, he sometimes doesn't kill the boss fast enough, and the boss ends up killing him. So if I had better blessings on him, got him to 5-star, he might actually be able to straight up solo Dragonheart 10. I think he can also solo, not I think, he can absolutely solo Ice Golem as well. Although I've started using a duo Sulfurion Artak Ice Golem team that can do it in about 2 minutes, including all the waves and everything in the boss. A little over 2 minutes, maybe 2.5 at most, which has been awesome to figure that out. And it's pretty consistent. I definitely probably want to rework the Sulfurion or the Artak build for that. But here you can see we're up on the boss in, you know, about a minute. The boss is loading itself up with poisons. We get some Brimstone from the Bad L and poisons from the Bad L as well. And we should be able to finish this boss in about 2 minutes. Maybe less. Almost done. There you go. Yep, there we go. 1:39 seconds. We're able to do Dragonheart 10 with the duo with these 2 champions. So that's what I've been doing. That's how I've been running this whole event. Just farming constantly with the RSL Helper. We're probably going to get the permanent super raid starting tomorrow. So I think they'll probably break RSL Helper when they release that update. But it will be really nice to basically speed that up as well. And I think I should be perfectly on track to finish this event sometime tomorrow. So that's going to be it. I hope you guys found this kind of interesting and enjoyed some of these teams. And if you did, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.